question, or maybe even a debate among guitarists, and that is music theory important to what I'm doing? Is music theory important as a guitarist? I think it's often confused with, is it essential? So let's just separate those two first of all. Is it essential to learn music theory as a guitarist? No. Is it important to learn music theory as a guitarist? I would say so, yes. As a guitar teacher, I've been teaching for 12 years. The amount of people who are interested, or certainly guitarists who are interested in music theory, is negligible, it's tiny. But it's finding a way to encourage people to just have a little peek, to just take on a few little parts of music theory to help push them on as a musician. So I suppose that's the thing. We're not just looking at being guitarists, we're looking at being musicians at this point. If your only goal as a guitarist is to learn a bunch of riffs written by bands or artists, then yeah, maybe music theory isn't that important to you, and maybe it's not something you should pursue. If, however, you want to take your craft further and you want to be able to construct and compose pieces of music, you want to be able to play with other musicians, maybe go to an open mic night and make sure you don't embarrass yourself by playing in the wrong key, done that, then music theory, yeah, I think it's important. And not only that, it's fun. It's good to get involved in some music theory because it just opens things up for you. Very quickly before I go to my 3 tips of what music theory you should kind of open with, the way I see it is it's like a bunch of closed doors. As a musician, those doors can all remain closed if you want them to, and you can kind of guess what's behind them, but you never know for sure, yeah? And actually you're missing out on what's really behind them. Learning music theory, every new thing you learn is like opening a door. You can have a look through it and go, yeah, actually I fancy a bit of that, I'll have a go at that, I'll apply that to my ability. You can look through the door and go, actually, that doesn't interest me. So that leads me on to another point. Is it going to restrict my creativity? No. In no way is learning music theory going to restrict your creativity. Every concept you can think of, every clever note that no other musician has ever thought of, there is an idea of that in music theory. There is an actual concept behind what you're doing. So no, how can it restrict you if it's just giving you more tools? That's kind of like a builder saying, I don't need more than my hammer because anything else is just going to restrict my ability to build. I'm pretty sure that builder would like more tools to do the job more effectively and not get stuck and not come up against so many hurdles. I hope that makes some sense. So my top tips for entering the world of music theory as a guitarist. Number 1, and I think most important, learn your chromatic scale. I've done a chromatic scale video. It's really easy. I think sometimes we guitarists get put off because we have tablature, so we don't kind of get stuck into the whole notation music theory thing early on, but learn your chromatic scale. It's so easy. Each one of your strings is given a note name, yeah? There we go. And then every fret is a separate note, but it's always the same sequence. So you start on A, the very next fret is going to be A sharp. Okay, so that takes us through this string, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, so on. It takes us from fret 5 on the low E, A sharp, B, C. So it's so easy. I'd compel you to go and learn your chromatic scale. I think the next thing would be, scale theory would be the next thing I would learn. Learn your major scale after your chromatic scale and learn then the intervals of the major scale. And just learn intervals in general. If you don't know what any of these terms are, look them up, Google, YouTube, whatever, there will be videos on these things. So your chromatic scale, your major scale and intervals, and then third of all, harmonizing the major scale to work out how chords work, to get triads. So triads, Google triads in music, and that will be some good theory there. So 3 really strong points to start at. I'm sure other people will have different ideas of how they would start music theory, but these are the steps I would take my students through. Chromatic scale, understanding the major scale and intervals, and then looking at triads and harmonization of chords. That's so helpful, all that stuff. If you learn nothing more than that, that would be a really good foundation in music theory. And very quickly before I finish up on this, another misconception is that music theory is all crotchets and quavers. That really isn't. That's almost like a different subject. That's learning about how to read written notation, yeah? That's understanding time values and stuff like that, which again is really important and is linked to music theory. But when I talk about music theory, I mean understanding how to create and really get involved in what you're playing. understand where what you're playing comes from, understand how you can take those ideas and concepts further and make them your own. Okay, so yes, initially it can seem a little boring, but it's really not. It's well worth doing. So if you're a guitarist watching this video, chances are you're taking the steps into, is music theory important to me as a guitarist or as a musician, because that's what you are, then yes, do it. Why not? It won't do you any harm, guaranteed. Okay? If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is my first video I've done since I reached 103 subscribers. I know I shouldn't be excited by that, but I really am. So come along, join in, whatever this is, and yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much. Bye.